Get ready because it's going to be a busy vlog. Today's project is going to be a lot bigger on my M5, but I have a supporting cast because some of the boys are coming over to lend a helping hand, and it's going to make my project a lot easier. I'm going to be focusing mainly on my SMG transmission, in particular the accumulator, because it is causing me some problems when I'm shifting. So I'm going to be able to install that and test it later on today. On the last episode, I mentioned that I'm going to be doing some work on my 911 in preparation for smog, but I want to take a break between the last project that I had on my M5 because today's project is going to be a lot bigger. I'm having some of the guys come over to help me out, so I'm going to begin this vlog talking about some of the things that we're going to do for today's vlog. There are going to be 3 items that I really want to knock out on today's vlog, and the first one is to replace my accumulator. The accumulator is not holding pressure right now, so in between shifts it's a little bit sludgy. So I'm going to replace that with a brand new one here. And then I have the hydraulic fluid because I'm going to drain the old one and replace it with new one. And then after I'm done with that, I'm going to use my Autel to bring back the pressure so that I could restore the settings for my accumulator. And then I also want to change the oil, but before I even get to the oil, I do have the oil pump gaskets here. And this is going to be the pretty tough part of today's project because getting to the oil pumps is pretty tight. So I'm hoping that a couple of my buddies who have smaller hands than me can reach those areas. But I'm pretty confident we can do that before we change the oil, because I have the oil right here, the filter, and then inside the filter I have all the replacement O-rings, the crush washer, and so forth. So those are the things that I want to be knocking out on today's vlog. Before the guys come, I might start off with removing some of the panels here because I want to get to the relay for my SMG. That way, when I'm starting to work on the pressure accumulator, the SMG pump is not trying to prime, because I want to use my Autel to depressurize the accumulator. That way, when I uninstall it, there's no pressure built up in the accumulator. The guys should be here any minute, and when we get here, the first thing we're going to do is get my car up on all 4. So that way we can start removing the panels underneath my car. I hear the boys. There's Ant and Sir. We started working on the car right now. I just had some breakfast. We got some snacks out right now. But the jack is already set in place, but we're not gonna lift the car yet because Surf and Ant are working on the relay for the SMG pump. So I'm gonna swing around and check out the progress. So we got to move some of the panels over here to get access to the box for the relay that houses the SMG pump. So the relay is right here. So we got the car up in the front. We're gonna secure the front first, move the jacks to the back, and then secure the back. So the car's up on all 4 now. We're adding some jack stands and tires underneath just for extra safety. So the car is up on all 4s now. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go underneath it and pull out the panel, the plastic panel, which is secured by, I think, 8mm screws. I'm not too sure how many there are, but I'll get that first. And then there's a aluminum brace that I need to get also to get access to the accumulator. So I'll get that afterwards. Here is the plastic panel that I need to remove. There's some of the 8mm screws I need to unscrew. There's quite a bit of screws that was securing the plastic panel here. But me and Surf were able to remove all the screws. There's quite a bit of it. So now it exposes the bottom part here. And the accumulator is right here. So this brace right here, this aluminum brace, is something that we're gonna take out. I think there's 16mm bolts. So I'm gonna use my impact wrench so it can be a little bit easier to pull it out. I'm gonna expose the bolts so I could remove the accumulator. go. Okay, now that brace is gone, we have full access to the accumulator, which is right there. And now the next step is to depressurize the system. That way there's no pressure in the accumulator. And then once I'm done with that, then I can take out the SMG pump relay. I got my Autel connected to my car. So the next step is to depressurize the system. You can probably hear the pump priming right now. There you go, that sound. So I want to depressurize the system so that way when I'm removing the accumulator, there's no pressure inside of it. Okay, I'm gonna set up my car. Now that's connected, I'm going to use a service tool here. I want to show you a quick test function over here to show that the problem is indeed the pressure accumulator. So on F1, you have that calculate accumulate pressure. So I'm gonna click on that one. And then it's going to execute the command. Just give you some notes here. Click continue. Say yes. Now it's going to run its test. And the test program gives you the values. Look at the pressure right there, only 50 bar. It should be, I believe, 110 or something like that, around that area. It's the powertrain that I want to go to, and then I want to go to the SMG transmission control unit, and then I'm going to do the replacement and repair tool. Now it's going to sync. It's still here, the SMG trying to prime. So now it's prompting me if I want to start the system pressure reduction. So I want to say yes, and then the next step is going to tell me the hydraulic pressure is reduced. I have the engine off, and then you want to proceed to reduce the hydraulic pressure. I'm going to say yes. And then it tells me follow the information related to working on the hydraulic system and so forth. And I'm going to click continue. Now it's running that pressure reduction. That's the sound of the accumulator reducing the pressure. It's at 9 bar right now, so we're getting there. So we got it down to 1 bar. I think it's ready to remove. So here is the SMG pump. I'm gonna pull it out. So here's the relay. I needed some pliers to get a little bit better grab of it. So now it's time to pull out the accumulator. So I got direct access to the accumulator, however it's pretty tight right here. So I might need a box wrench because my socket is hitting one of those terminals, one of those plugs. So I might need to use a box wrench instead. So instead of the box wrench, I just disconnected the cable. So now I have direct access to the 17mm nut that connects the accumulator. So here is the old accumulator and then the replacement right here. Exact same size, it's OEM spec. I'm just gonna reuse this rubber casing here. This is the one that goes to the front over here, and then the bracket hooks onto this so it doesn't move. The back part here goes into, I think, the solenoid. So I'm gonna remove this cap, and it comes with its own O-ring. The one of the old one here is kind of worn out, so it came with its own replacement O-ring. I'm just gonna remove this and install this back on. So the next part is to drain. I'm gonna drain the old hydraulic fluid. There's an Allen screw right up there. For more context, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so you can see the accumulator was right there. So the drainage plug is right up there. So I'm gonna get my ratchet, reach up there, and then once I pull out that plastic plug, I'm gonna slide in one of the hoses so I can pump the old hydraulic fluid out. So I got the plug out, which is right over there. It's just a little bit of pressure. That's why it's draining out. Good thing I have my oil drip pen right here. the catching of that oil, overflow oil. So what I'm going to do now is grab the hose so we can suction out that oil. So we scaled down the hose to a much smaller one, and now Ant's going to pump using the pump down here to get all the oil.
2 pumps and it's already almost halfway.
Oh, go for it.
I could hear like when you drink Coke out of a can.
There you go.
Just
Look how
the last-
old that oil is.
Yeah, it's all.
And Eduardo is here. Man, you just missed the best part. I need you for another part later.
Okay.
So.
What's up?
What is what's his name? Surf.
It's right there under there. How's the drive, man?
Drive was
So we're making progress on the installation of the accumulator. I have the new hydraulic fluid right here. So I'm gonna fill up the cup to about the same amount as we pulled out and use that as a measuring guide to pump back up the new fluid. So here is the new hydraulic fluid. You notice that the tint on the new one is a lot more cleaner. It's more green, whereas the other one's more gold. The guide that I used, that blue line, that's how much was inside when we pumped it outside. So I'm gonna put a little bit more past that blue line. That way I have enough fluid in my car to replace what I pumped out.
You ready? Okay.
All right, let's go pump some hydraulic fluid. Okay, slowly. There you go. Perfect. How's it going, Surf?
Nothing up yet.
Okay, go ahead.
We're good.
Slow. Oh yeah, man, this thing is good.
Yeah. That's the second pump.
Wow. Okay, third pump. So I just plugged the
We still managed to make a mess.
hydraulic fluid reservoir.
The house, oil.
Now it's time to put back on the
With my mask on.
new accumulator.
Okay.
And then there's a bracket just right over here that I need to tighten.
Michael sprayed with
And then once I'm done with that,
Yeah.
I can start
basically,
the re-pressurizing process with the Autel and put back the SMG pump relay and then start testing it. Got some light. Okay. The new accumulator is in, buttoned everything up, and also plug back this harness right there. So time to plug in the Autel and repressurize the system. So I just plugged back the SMG pump relay and my Autel is still plugged in. So now I'm going to repressurize the system. And then I'm going to be doing the gear adaptation with the Autel. I had to connect my battery to my charger because I'm not maintaining 12 volts right now. My car's been on the whole time. And so I just plugged the charger, so we're almost there at 11.96. So I'll leave it on the charger while I do this process so I could bleed the system and repressurize it.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Eduardo just left. We just started up the grill right behind me. So we're gonna take a break from the project right now, have some lunch, and then get back on it. I do want to use F4 here so I can bleed the system. So I'm gonna click on F4. So you can hear now that the actuator block ventilation is running right now. It takes about 15 minutes. That's why I have the car on a charger. So I'm gonna let that cycle and then return back to recording. You can hear the pump bleeding the system. So now I'm gonna go to F4 for hydraulics. I want to do the pressure buildup. So I'm gonna select F1, which is right here. And then I'm just gonna go through the process from top to bottom. All right, we just finished up in the garage. We're hanging out a little bit. The boys are leaving now. So once they're gone, I'll head back in the garage and wrap up this vlog. We got a little bit sidetracked on this vlog. After lunch, we just started to hang out and talk, and we ended up going back to the project and getting the accumulator fully installed and also pressurizing the system, getting all the gears to engage. And then after that, we went and targeted the leaks on the oil pump gasket on both sides. There was one side that I had a concern about because of the location of one of the bolts is very tight and awkward. And in order to get to it, we needed the S-line type box wrench. And even if we get to it, my concern was being able to tighten it from the angle that we were at laying down. So what I told the guys is, let's go ahead and wrap up today's project. We got the main thing that I want to get done today, which was the accumulator. So we'll take a win on that, and we'll push back the oil pump gaskets on another tech day. What I'm gonna do now is I definitely want to drive my car around and see the difference with the new accumulator. So I'm gonna get cleaned up and then hop back in the M5 and take it for a test drive. After getting cleaned up, I noticed I was a little short on time, but I was still able to sneak my M5 out before it got too dark and go for a little test drive just a few blocks away from home. I was able to switch through all 7 gears successfully, and my car definitely feels a big improvement. I initially wanted to get the oil pump seals replaced today. We were able to get to that part of the project, but because of time, I didn't want to start that project and keep my car lifted throughout the week. So I decided to just table that project to another day. Now that the 2 major parts that I want to replace on my M5 are complete, I'm gonna take a short break because I'm going to go on a trip with my family down to Sequoia, and I'm gonna try to incorporate some car spotting on that vlog, as well as share some of my experience at the national park. So that's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you on the next one.